Okay, we're here at the third episode of the Banko Hoppy Hour. I am your host, Joe Marino, also known as the Godfather of Beer.
Sultan of Suds.
Right. Our goal here is to inform you how Banko Beverage brings its products into its 10-county footprint and how we work with our suppliers, with our retailers, and with actually, that's it, suppliers, retailers, and actually the people who drink the beer. So I am now between two Dougs. I have, to my right, I have Doug Bellenger, owner, operator, and I think he maybe even makes beer once in a while, of Well Crafted. It's a local brew pub brewery in Ambler and Lansdale. And to my left, there's none other than Doug Lisk. Doug Lisk is the craft beer manager at Banko Beverage, and his job is to work with Doug and get these fine products out into the marketplace. So we're going to get a little information from Doug, the smart Doug first. And so, Doug, when did you start your brewery?
We started the brewery in 2016. We started kind of trying to figure it out. We started home brewing 13 years prior to that. I guess it was a while. So Rick and I, who's my neighbor, we brewed together, home brewed for 13 years. We got through, 7 or 8 years, and we kept brewing in bigger and bigger batches, and we brought our buddy Joe on. So Joe was now trying to help us get these one-barrel batches into sixtels, and we were running through them all. So Rick worked at another brewery for a while where he was an apprentice as part of a brewing program, and we all said, hey, why don't we do this? Like, why don't we actually set this up? So we ended up in Lansdale after a couple of things of getting the equipment out of what was the old General Lafayette in Lafayette Hill. And then we kind of gave Rick the keys and said, hey, like, we gotta start this up, and you're gonna brew beer. And then 11 breweries opened around us within 5 miles. So then my wife, Nika, she took on the marketing side of it. And then Lansdale came in 2018 is when we opened it. So
2018. So other than Nika, what's the other partner's name?
So we've got Joe, we've got Matt, we've got Diane and Ryan, and then we've got Rick and myself and Nika. It's a lot.
When I buy the place, do I have to take them all on?
Yeah. All of us are going to work for you.
They come with everything. Oh, okay.
But we're really nice people, so it'll be good for you.
Oh, I
Family.
It's all family.
I love them all. So you started with the Lansdale Brew Pub.
Yep.
I've been there. It's really cool. It's like a cool space, great food, comedy shows, bands, everything. And then you moved over to Ambler.
Yeah.
And Ambler, which I've been there, and that's super cool too.
It's fun. Both of them are great.
It's kind of more of a production facility than Lansdale.
Yeah, the Lansdale's obviously our home. We love the culture, the vibe, everything it gets us. But the challenge to Lansdale is everything's got to go up and down an elevator, and there's only so much height when you're in a basement. So the building we're in used to be a Masonic temple, and then they moved it to being an arts building, and then they turned it into what it is today. But as we continued to grow, we couldn't bring an 18-wheeler up and fill it up for you guys, like in the middle of the parking lot, and we couldn't get any more tanks in. So in 2022, we acquired the assets of Ambler Beer Company, and great people. We worked with them prior, kind of helped them get the team up and running. We had the same architects that kind of built it out, and the system was built by the guy that Rick apprenticed with. So it was like a very natural fit for us to kind of go in. And now with that facility, we've actually doubled the capacity of it, and we're on path to continue that growth with some more additional changes we're making. But now we can work with guys like you and actually produce beer at a bigger volume and then do things conveniently, like load it not in a van every 5 minutes in the middle of the road.
Yeah, like Lansdale's cool, typical, just like a basement bar and everything.
Yeah.
So describe the Ambler. Like the vibe at Ambler. I know we've been down for the Food Truck Fridays, and it's literally like in an industrial park.
Yeah, I call it a business frat park. So it's a very unique location because it started in the 30s as a place for Ford to kind of put chemicals together to prevent rust, right? Like of the cars when they figured out that was an issue. And then it changed hands over and over and over again until our current landlords have it. But now there's internet companies there and architecture firms there and a skate park there. And like, there's all of these different types of business that at like 3 o'clock come together and they all high five and they all have a beer. So what's awesome about Ambler is it's got outdoor space that like ties really well to the production space. So like, yes, it's an industrial vibe, but like it's kind of like this homey industrial vibe where like kids can hang out and adults can drink and, we can actually do work at it. So it's a lot of fun.
You remember when I was down there, how good I was at the skateboard park?
You did awesome. Like, did you remember he was like
that kick flip? It was a 360.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Gleaming the cube.
yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Unfortunately,
and then they put wheels on the skateboard and screwed everything up. It's like
it's just Joe riding 2x4s.
Right.
Pretty awesome.
So I know how to drink beer. I know how to sell beer. I don't know how to make beer. So the process of making beer, how do you guys just like decide what's these styles, and how do you come about and say, hey, let's try this?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is kind of driven by the market, right? Like it's a twofold. We need to brew beers that we love, right? And we love pilsners and lagers and IPAs and all these different
Cream
things.
ales.
Cream ales, yes. We can talk about where that came from in a little bit, but like, the process really comes down to us sitting down and saying, hey, what do we need in order to fill out the appropriate tap list? Like, we can't just have a heavy IPA list. We can't have a bunch of pilsners on our list. We have to like blend together a list that invites anybody to come drink. And now that we're working with you guys, we also have to figure out how to fit that list to the outside world too. So, but Rick has got this mastery and his team, like it's all of them together. Like they know how to make different styles, and we can say, hey, like this week we're gonna brew an IPA, but it's gonna be a spelt IPA like Glide, right? Or next week we're gonna brew a barley wine, and we're gonna use that in a way that we can put it in barrels, but we all can kind of like blend it into other drinks. Like so, it's the style of like kind of community like inside of the brewery to say, hey, like we need these things because that's what makes breweries cool. But at the same time, we need to make sure the customers out there get something different. So that's where we get into like our Americanos, like our blonde Americano and our mocha Americano and the cream ales of the world. So yeah, I don't know if that answers that well, but like it really comes down to us saying we need this because the customer enjoys it and we enjoy making it. And then we kind of make that work on all of our different tap lists. So
right. So you, I know you supply us with beer and we take it out into the general market, but there's probably, and I think just from my experience of going to your places, there's beers that you produce basically just for your brew pubs.
yes.
And then beer that you make that you like give to Banko to spread the joy throughout our 10-county footprint.
Yep. Yeah, and we have a couple different styles that we actually do. Like we have a program called Freeform, right? And that Freeform series won't hit you guys because that's actually built specifically for the tap room and for the breweries to get creative. So like our last Freeform was a hazy IPA because we wanted to try a couple different hops. Prior to that, it was a big stout. And that big stout became part of our Amblerversary series, and now it's also tying into some new stuff we're doing with Boardroom and this Northbound stout that we have coming out. The next one we're doing is an American Pale Ale. Like we're 6 years in, we've never made an American Pale Ale, and now we're like, we should do that because we like them. So I don't know that that's going to hit the market. I don't know if the market's looking for an American Pale Ale, but at the brew pub, it's fun and something different for us to do. So
you do have some unique beers and unique names, and so how do you come up with some of the names?
So there's the Monger series was actually just kind of tied into the concept of a cheesemonger and becoming the hot monger, right? Like so, it was a fun name, and it's a brand that we've been building for many years now. And hot monger lends itself to little monger. Little Monger and Double Monger are coming out in a variety pack, actually, which will be 12-ounce cans. Well, I'll pull it out.
Major release.
So
okay,
12-ounce
cool.
cans. So these aren't the variety pack, but here, you can crack one of those. We'll just drink them out of the can. You want one of these?
Yes, sir.
All right. But
a little glass. So.
Oh, this is only 7.1%, so
yeah, you can podcast drink these.
podcast drinking.
But
it's like beer.
cheers
Cheers
to
between
that.
two Dougs.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, it smells good. Tastes good too. Cheers.
Then we have beers like Colonel Forbin, which is our West Coast, one of my favorite beers. And we actually started doing it on Nitro too, which is even more amazing. But Colonel Forbin comes out of a series of different jam band things, like that's actually tied to fish. Also, Forbin was the name of my neighbor's dog. So that's kind of where we started with it, and we kind of memorialized the dog, which is, if you look at the label, there's actually a little dog on there, as well as a couple of different references to the song. Blonde Americano, we make a blonde coffee stout. I was with a guy last week who was like, he's like stouts and coffee, like they need to be together, but not stouts and Kolsch and all these other things. And I'm like, yeah, but this is a blonde stout. I'm like, so that's what it is. So the Americano is really kind of that coffee tie, but that's one of our kind of top selling beers just because it's different. You know, people are using nitro lines and putting stouts out all the time, but they're always the same thing. And like this gives them a different edge on that. And people are starting to stray a little bit from the IPAs. They're trying to differentiate their tap list. So between this and our sours, like our Flamingo Bonito series and our Key Lime, like those differences help kind of build out a different type of drinker. So the guy that's not always drinking IPAs, but maybe somebody who's interested in something that's a little sweeter or a little tart, you know. So those are where that is. And Tiger Tail is one of my favorites. So we all went to school at RIT, which was the RIT Tigers. And we used to all drink Jenny Cream Ale, which I know, you know, Joe, we've talked about
Up in
before.
upstate New York.
Big history with Jenny Cream Ale.
Yeah, so it's one of the reasons we chose Banko, because Joe liked Jenny Cream Ale. But yeah, so there's a little bit of a homage back to the RIT. We also, when we originally started brewing Tiger Tail, we used to brew it with Frosted Flakes. So Tony the Tiger was tied in there too. But as the price of cereal went up, you know, 'cause crazy inflation, we actually stuck to corn, you know, and actually worked it in. And it's still got a nice sweet body to it. But like that beer is such a unique journey in terms of how you make beer. Like we make that now in Ambler. We used to make it in Lansdale. But like we actually changed the hardness of the water for different beers that we make, because each beer has a different profile. So like Tiger Tail is awesome because like we can make it a little bit softer, still get that really crisp taste out of it, and just kind of pay back to what the beer used to be, a nostalgic beer that everybody used to drink. So we still got to get all these kids in college to drink cream ale to know what they're supposed to be getting into on the craft side of it, but I think that's on you guys, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. We'll sell them Jenny Cream Ale and then say, hey.
Tell them, hey, you want to pay more? We
Then
got this other fancy
30
one.
years from now, they'll get nostalgic and they'll drink your stuff.
Exactly, right.
Yeah. So it's just have patience. Patience with Banko, you know what I mean? So, Doug, what the hell do you do?
Yeah, what do you do?
I don't know. You
look
asked me all
great.
this time. Thank you. Thank you. I was out late last night. I don't know. Why are you asking me what I do?
Well,
First of all, we're here.
I'm asking you, as your job at Banko, working with Doug, what's your function?
So since the first
I
episode,
know what you do, Doug.
I know.
There's
You always do
people-
this to me.
I
But
do
yeah,
too.
it was the first or second. I don't know which suds with Bankos you did that on, but I do all of our festivals. So getting, again, the right beer for the right crowd, right, mix of people. I do a lot of that. So again, we're going to have some Little Monger down at Music Fest because, we want to have the right lay of the land for the beers. So we already have a hazy IPA down there, but now we're going to have a pale ale hazy. So that's the one things I do. And the other thing I wanted to say about Well Crafted was when we went and tried all those beers, everybody makes a great IPA. Everybody's got a Kolsch. But when we tried that Blonde Americano, I remember looking at it, I'm like, it's going to be coffee. It's not dark. And then we drank it. I was like, holy shit, this tastes like a coffee, but looks like a beer. So, I mean, if you get a chance to try it and drink it out of the can, because it'll really blow your mind. You think you're drinking something like a Guinness dark color, but it is a blonde Americano. It's pretty awesome.
So
beer.
how many, Lansdale, how many beers on tap do you normally have there?
20. 19, 20. Like,
So
19, I
Doug
think.
drank all 20 when we were there.
he actually had some cans too. I think
Yeah.
he might have had
Yeah,
35
it's like-
different beers.
Yeah, so around
Joe drove.
20. So, yeah. No, Rob drove, but I drank
that's
about
right, Rob was
half.
there.
And so, Doug, what's your kind of favorite style? Not just in Well Crafted, favorite style of beer. I think you're a hazy IPA guy.
I was an IPA guy before everybody started drinking IPAs. My favorite beer is Chesterfield before like everything blew up. But I do like IPAs. I like a bitter beer. Drinking wine, I like a dry wine. So yeah, their Corner Fulburn is a perfect West Coast style. But yes, they make a very good New England style hazy IPA that I enjoy.
West Coast, like the comeback of West Coast is great. Did you have our double West Coast? We did that in a freeform series too. I think you
That
did.
was the
I
big
actually had you
32
drive
ounces.
down, and I'm like, you need to come down here and have this double West Coast.
And I drank the rest of the cans you sent back with me for the other guys too because it was so good.
Yeah, that's good.
If I remember correctly, Stella Artois makes a really good Chesterfield ale.
Chesterfield, yes.
We'll just leave it at that. Doug knows what I mean, and you can all guess. But yeah, so the brew pub, really cool. But man, is there competition?
Yeah.
So as far as you, like now, you're making beer, you're producing beer, you're like in the wholesale business now,
Yeah.
and you turn around and they're building decks and cornhole things and food trucks, and how do you keep up, man?
It's hard. We have a fantastic team. Diane, she's one of our owners that kind of manages the tasting room side of it and tries to keep up with all that. But like each one of us has to hold, a different role. So like, Rick and Ryan got the brewery and the packaging side of it down, but like we've got to be out there. So we've got people on the street going bars and distributors all the time. Myself and Eric, we've got Nika and Lexi on our team who are on the marketing side, trying to keep up with getting content out to you guys and making sure we have the events there. We've got a whole crew of people in the taproom side trying to make sure we keep up with these events between our
They got a train stop.
we do have multiple train stops.
Yeah, I mean that helps.
But we've got a food truck event. We run in Ambler every third Friday. We have First Fridays in Lansdale. We're helping with the Lansdale Beer Fest, which is coming up on June 22nd. Just making sure that's all running and getting all those breweries together. But you don't get to sleep. But you do get to have a great time. Like every single one of these events, like you meet new people, like you go out to bars, you meet new people. Back to Doug's point, like my favorite thing in this entire industry is when somebody says, "That's pretty good," and you're like, "That's actually what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to make great beer." And then when they get something that they're like, "I haven't had something like that before," then you're in a new world, and then you start talking with these guys about beer and what they love, and it's a great industry. So, but it's you can get a little tired sometimes.
Yeah, because I like there are places I'm not going to name them, but like people say, I'll go, oh, we were at this place, and man, is it cool? They got a great deck, and they got this, and they got cornhole, and they got this, and they got that. And go, well, how was the beer? I had one. It was
That's
all right.
yeah.
It was like okay, so. But you're not only competing with beer, you're competing with
Experience,
the vibe and the experience, and we're on the other side. We're just a lot of these. We
Trying to
don't
supply
sell
the
them.
good
We
time.
don't sell them anything,
Right.
And they're great experience. They're great beer experiences, and we're beer people, and we got to kind of look out of the corner of our eye at them. But again, and I always say, whatever's good for beer is good for Banko. It's just
it's hard in the wholesale side. There's a lot of players out there, but you got to be good, right? Like because you got to people going through it. When you get in the tasting room side of it, like experience drives a lot of it. Like we can make the best beer in the world, but if we have a poor experience, like people aren't going to come back all the time, right?
Destination.
But
Yeah.
but if you have a great patio and a great live music scene, like, and you're good at beer, like you're going to get people coming out. So we have to make sure that we get all of them right. And like that's why we have the name. Like, we almost changed our name, but we're like, no, we got to live by this. We have to be well crafted. We have to dump a batch if it's not good. We have to make sure the service is right, and we have to make sure that people have a great time. Like, and when you get it right, and like people are like, oh, we had a great time at your place. You're like, cool. That's what we're supposed to do. So, but
so. I think I should know this answer, but maybe other people don't. How did you end up at Banko?
how do we end up at Banko? So, Eric.
I don't know that I know the answer.
You don't? I think Eric. I think it was the Liberty Tap House. Like,
We did run to Eric.
And Eric ran in there. He ran into Stackhouse, actually. And it wasn't when you guys were that one time. He kept running into him over and over again at these locations. And he's like, dude, you should talk to Rob and Doug. Like, you guys somehow are in the valley, and like we keep running into you. We know you're actually doing it, and the people are putting the beer on and they're liking it. So then I got the note, and we weren't even talking about distributors yet. Like we didn't even know what we were doing there yet. We just had taken Ambler on.
Eric guaranteed us right off the bat. He's like, guys, we're locked in. It's going to be great.
He said 100 million barrels.
It's going to be amazing.
Like, whoa.
Well, I remember running into Eric at Liberty Street Tavern.
Yeah.
Yeah, and same thing. They always carried your beer. And then I remember Doug and Rob, they said, hey, you want to go for a ride? Let's go. We'll get some lunch or we'll do something and go down to Lansdale and drink. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll drink 5. Doug will drink 20, and Rob can drink 2. But we had a great experience. I remember you brought in lunch for us. You gave us a tour.
I've made a PowerPoint presentation for you.
Yeah, which we
yeah,
didn't really need. We just
beautiful,
needed the board, all the different.
I think it
beers.
just said space, or like I remember like there was a point of it that was like, here's the building.
Yeah.
It's like coming to
not in there
Lansdale.
yet.
Like as you walk into Lansdale and you're a distributor, you're like, how are they going to produce the beer? And then like I'm like, this is where we actually produce the beer. Like,
and you can pick it up at this door.
Yeah.
Back the truck in there.
and
I think you were actually getting a delivery of oats or whatever the hell you make beer with, coming down the elevator.
Yeah.
And I was mad because I had to use the steps because the elevator was doing product.
well, we needed to get you that skateboard training, so you
Yes.
just go down the rail.
Absolutely. So tell me about, like, I don't know, styles. Like, what makes Colonel Forbin different than Blonde Americano? Because for me, just the dumb guy that just likes to drink beer.
I mean, that all comes down to grains, hops, yeast, all the things that go into the beer. But like with Forbin, we really tried to lean into that old school West Coast taste. A malt profile that's a little bit maltier. Sticking to that piney taste to it, and like, down in our area, like they started to take back off, but like you kind of got to go back in the nostalgic side of it again, and like Racer 5 world, like and Union Jacks, which is one of my favorite little bars by us. Not little, it's pretty big. But like they put on the little thing, it said the West Coast like we remember, right? Like, and it was like kind of bringing back like what West Coast were supposed to be, because people start to thin them out, and they change the hops and they kind of get not necessarily like the right bitterness, but just like overly bitter, right? So Forbin, that's what we kind of put into that. Blonde is actually, there's not a lot of hops in Blonde. There are some hops in Blonde, but Blonde is actually conditioned on whole beans, right? So when we go down that process, we have our kind of Americano base, our blonde stout base, and then we get to the end of it, and then we condition it on, whether it's just coffee or whether it's cocoa nibs like our mocha has. Our Irish potato is one of our brewers' favorites, and that's got coconut in it and cinnamon in it. So each beer, like we kind of go back to, what is this supposed to taste like, like, and that's, you kind of go and you try the beers that you loved before, and you like kind of dial your recipe in, and a lot of it comes down to like what grain do you use to get the right color, what grain do you use to get the right flavor, like which grain is actually going to give you the ABV that you want to do, because Little Monger and Monger are very similar when it comes to taste, but one's 5.5% and one's 7.1.
I know, because if I drink this, I won't.
Yeah.
I'm talking right again.
That's why we got Double Monger for naps.
Right.
So
you got a beer in front of you now that's not on that
Glide,
on the
yeah.
case card. So
this is our seasonal IPA.
Seasonal
for
IPA.
the distributors,
So
yeah.
It is available. I don't know how timely this video is, but it's available.
I think he said it comes out in like 2025.
Damn it.
Wait, no. He said if we don't have to edit it, then it'll be out soon.
Oh, okay.
it'll be out
So
soon.
that beer may or may not be available when this comes out. Should be.
Yeah, so this is
So
a
let's
spelt,
talk about it. Let's maybe drink some.
This is a Pilsner and spelt malt. So this is a spelt IPA, which is different. But like when you taste it, what do you want to use? Do you want to use these glasses here? Or do you want to just share cans?
Just give me one of these mouthwash
What is the word
things.
spelt?
Spelt. Yeah.
Oh,
that's a-
spelt.
it's
And
a
this is
grain.
I heard
this
it
is another
C in there.
7.1.
This is a 7.1 as well, yeah. We try to keep our hazies around that camp. Do you want a glass or do you want the little cup?
I want a glass.
All right, well, here you go. Oh, you got a glass already. I'll let you finish that. Doug's
So
never
the-
afraid to finish a beer here.
So in the elevator ride up to the second floor, really the third floor. Just throwing it out there.
Oh, wait, that was,
We came in on the
you're not afraid of that.
ground level. He was talking about down where we come from, right? And the beer styles that are popular down there. And he's talking about the Philadelphia market, that area of in which people watching, maybe listening to what we're talking about here, but Philadelphia is the #1 micro market in the country.
Yeah.
You know, there's people want to tell you it's Colorado, it's California, it's Philadelphia. So the nerds down there are very particular about beer, and they're usually, my opinion, in my little world, they're about 5 years ahead of where we are in the Lehigh Valley. So right now, the hazies that we all love, I love, are not as cool in the Philadelphia market. They've gone back to traditional styles.
There's
West Coast.
pilsners and lagers are crushing it. Guys like Human Robot are like doing really well with that stuff.
So my point is, that's what I do. I have to get the right mix for our 10 counties. I hope I do it the right way, and find out what's going to resonate with our customers and our population and our bars, so we get the right thing. We've done very well so far with the Tiger Tail and with the Hopmonger, where we're trying to get Forbin there because it's coming. If the big market, Philadelphia, has it going on down there, it's going to happen here soon. And again, it's just trying to figure out when those years are. So it's communicating with the customers, finding out what their people want, and putting what's right for their customers on tap. And hopefully that's why we partner up with these guys, as they make all this different beer, that we can hit all those different flavor points.
Yeah. And we have to make sure that we brew in specific areas a certain way. So this is our A-Town brown. So like we actually like.
Are you like posing for the camera?
I think so. Is that the camera over there? This is A-Town.
That would be. There's one over there and there's one over there.
Yeah, that one's behind me.
But again, everybody talks about hazy IPAs or West Coast IPAs or pale ales, but nobody's talking about a brown. And brown is a great style.
Yeah, and as we kind of like, and we're now like a couple months into working with Penn down in Philly area. We're almost a year into working with you guys, right? Like, it's been a while. So, but when we self-distributed for 3 to 4 years. When we self-distributed, it was kind of amazing, but also daunting a little bit, because we'd go in and be like, we have 17 beers to offer you. Which one would you like? And like, it was great for getting all these different styles out. But we were making like 5 cases and putting them over here and over here. So now we at least can kind of better market. The challenge is the marketing side of it. So you want to be able to tell people that a beer is available. Like, so when Glide comes out, you want to be able to say that. But up here, what we learned is, as he's saying, like there's a different type of drinker up here, which is great. Like, and it for us, when we have multiple styles, it means we can take something like Little Monger and put it up here and like crush the 5.5% hazy pale ale market, right? Versus like moving Forbin up right away, which when we initially launched wasn't moving as fast. Now in Philly, we moved Forbin really fast. Like, we actually saw before we went in with Penn, like this kind of continuous uptake in Forbin, which is why we started to try to move into like a world of like, what happens when we put it on Nitro? What happens when we do a double West Coast? Like, how does it all work? But now, like, we see down there, a lot of IPAs in the market. So, but we're doing well with like the blonde Americanos there, and the sours that like key lime sour and flamingo, and like Tiger Tail starting to kick there too. Like, up here, we made this brown ale. Doug had some ideas with it, right? Like,
A-Town Brown, everybody remembers that from high school.
So yeah, so
thought it'd be a great name.
And Rick's from Allentown, so it was something. Do you not
Twigs
know,
and Berries?
Joe?
You don't know about A-Town Brown?
He doesn't know.
A-Town Brown?
A-Town Brown. Twigs and Berries.
Yeah. All right. Well, for the listeners that do know, they know what we're talking about.
Doug and Doug.
Yeah, Doug and Doug know. Yeah. If you were listening to Kurt Cobain
Mets won a
in the
World
90s,
Series in
and then,
'86. Most people don't remember that either.
That's not because of the '86. Yeah. But anyways, like we're now. What's fun is we get to make styles that fit into this area, and we get to make styles that fit into wherever. And like, fortunately, we can make good beer. So A-Town Brown was a throwback to the '90s. For Joe, it was for bad weed. Like, that's what you just. But
you got to get the Twigs and Berries.
like,
now.
yeah, like, I mean, even like if you look at the cans,
But
like,
it's good beer.
So-
Is what Rick was annoyed
If
about.
you
Yeah,
say
it
so,
is good beer.
It's not A-Town Brown. It's
And all the twigs and berries out of it. That's all.
absolutely.
What was funny was, so we talked about this with you guys when we first started, and we never made a brown ale. And then I called him at Christmas time. I was like, dude, I got a present for you. And he's like, what? I've got a brown ale coming. So the first batch we got up here, and he's like, oh, shit, we got more stuff to sell. And I was like, well, let's see how it goes. So, but then you guys did a good run on it. So
Yeah, it's doing well. I mean, put it in cans now.
yeah, we put it in
People
cans.
liked it.
Yeah, I really think that once people kind of like you make the name, you understand the name, and I just think sometimes, once the consumer gets it, like, hey, somebody says, hey, we have Irish potato on. Well, I have no idea that it has nothing to do with potatoes. Nothing.
That's what's fascinating about that beer. I'm from Rochester, right? So I came from New York. Like, nobody knows what
We're
Irish
sorry.
potatoes are, right?
Right.
Like, but down in Philly, it's like, oh, Irish potatoes. And I'm like, we had Hostess. We don't have Tasty Cakes up there, but now I'm like,
Right.
I'm loading my kids up with Tasty Cakes so that they don't have, like, an issue at school where kids are like, yo,
get beat up for that stuff.
What I'm saying is,
Just have to Edmonds.
I think that's one of the things, the skill set that Doug has, and you guys have, that you have
The
to
Dougs.
kind of cut through the Doug stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really important for us to hear from him what you guys need. Because if everybody's trying to fill the same tap style and whatever, then nobody can succeed. You guys can't succeed as a distributor. We can't sell the product, and the consumer never sees it. So, like, when we create diversity, everybody wins. So
Yeah. Years back when I was probably just a route salesman, I would walk into 1896 house. Oh, yeah. It's not the name, but that's what Doug would call it. And
It's 1890.
and
Did
the
they
guy
have
was
guns
the guy
there?
was my friend, and I would say, "Oh, hey, you got to try this." I forget whatever it was for Banko, it was Pabst or whatever, and he'd go, that stuff's terrible." And I said, "Well, do you have an open line?" He goes, "No, I'm full." And he had literally six IPAs, the same kind, same style, same ABV, everything, 6 of them right in a row. I'm like going, "Dude, they can't all sell." He says, "They all sell." Well, he was
They
lying.
do.
Well, he's lying, yeah.
Well, he was lying.
Oh, was he? Okay.
4 of them sold or whatever. Right?
yeah.
Like,
They do
all
all
6
sell.
didn't sell the same, But now I see when I go to places, Tavern and Liberty, and I look at the menu, and there is diversity. And,
That's what they're
equity
very
and
good at doing.
inclusion
Just
in
doing
beer.
The
Right.
thing,
So
yeah.
it's the DEI of beer.
And that's like, it always, like, for us, like, collectively our IPAs are always top seller. But the thing is the next beer is going to be something different, right? You're not going to drink 4 IPAs in a sitting, but you are going to drink an IPA and then a Pilsner, and that's where that style kind of goes.
All right.
So
more?
for our big business listeners,
Let me try a sip of the A-Town Brown.
You want brown?
Yeah, you could clean it on an album cover if you don't think I know what you were talking about.
Heyo. So for big business beers, what he's saying is you don't want to be Miller with Miller Lite. You want to have other options. You don't want to be Bud with Bud Light, and then it dies. You don't want to be Coors with Coors Light. So again, you want to have that IPA when you're a craft guy, but you have to have something else because if
awesome.
everybody's got a hazy
Awesome.
IPA.
See?
Yeah.
You missed the brown ales.
It's like they never left.
Yeah. we did a beer dinner a couple months ago, or like a month ago, and it was awesome because we paired it with a short rib. But the guy that I was with, his name's B-Love. He's one of my good friends. He told the story about how when they made brown ales initially, they made them really high ABV, and they actually asked them to tone it down. So then there was Newcastle, I think, that figured out how to, like, really bring it back into the market and get it going again. But it's a great beer. I don't know, like, people just need to remember.
I can remember when Newcastle was the bomb.
Yeah.
It was the bomb.
Hence, it came into this, by the way, because we couldn't get
And
Newcastle.
I think
was
one of those things. I think one of Newcastle, what
have
they
some of
did is they kind of expanded their whole thing, and they went into 16 different kinds of Newcastle, and
And that's the hard
watered
part.
it down, and it kind of almost faded in obscurity. We still sell it. It's still a good beer, but it used to be like a niche beer, and now it's just not because of all this guys making their own beer.
Because
Well,
Well,
and
their
that's the-
garage and Ambler.
It's that regional piece, and that's, I think, what's difficult. Like, I listened to this podcast. It's amazing. It's called How to Start a Damn Brewery. How Not to Start a Damn Brewery. And it's like where I go to find out how not to fail. And if I fail, I get to go on.
I did that.
Yeah,
I did
like
that.
But they had Deschutes on there, and and it was just a great podcast. And Lost Abbey was on there. All these really amazing breweries, and Deschutes was talking about how, like, moving beer, like Sierra Nevada opened on the East Coast, and New Belgium opened on the East Coast, and Deschutes didn't do that. and you guys have Deschutes, right?
We have the shoes.
Yes.
But they kind
And
of
that's his
recognize
other
it.
thing was everybody was doing pale ales and IPAs.
Yeah.
So he said, "Fuck it, I'm doing a porter."
Yeah.
And
So
he's got the best-selling porter in the country.
and it was like you kind of had to look at it and be like, well, the regional guys are gonna start to take off a little bit, like and Lost Abbey said the same thing. Like if we're sending beer across the country, but it's not selling as fast, like why don't we be the regional? Like I mean, they're way bigger than regional guys, but like it's like focus on being really good at what you want to be at, and don't go giant. But like for the regional side, like I mean, we're competing with tons of regional breweries as well, right?
Right. We got
So-
Trogs
Yeah.
and
So for Newcastle, like they can't put 50 different styles out. They got to work with you guys in order to get that in, and they make great beer. But like you have to be regional for some, and then nationwide for others. So
Yeah.
and Doug's gonna take which one are you taking nationwide? You said Doug. Blonde Americano. You wanted to go
Yes,
nationwide.
we'll go Blonde American.
Podcast water. That's what we're gonna do. We're going. It's huge.
But
It's gonna be amazing.
But yeah, it's a challenge for like the market right now because like there's people that are coming in for familiar styles, and then there are these regional guys that are there. They're walking in the door, and you can't. It's part of the whole allure. Like if you know the brewer and you know the guy that's coming in, like you kind of want to give him a shot on tap. So, but that means we have to be at taps all the time. So
I kind of think I think we do very well with your products, but I think our beginning struggle might have been that you went from the brewery guy walking in to make a pitch to Banko coming in and sometimes just rightfully or not, people walk in
it's
and here
different.
comes the Miller Lite guy, and hey, I'm the Miller Lite guy. Here, try this. What do you know about that?
right.
So
I don't, but Eric does.
when you walk in or Eric walks in, they go, "Oh, this guy knows what he's talking about."
Yep.
We really screwed up when Doug and Doug walks in. Like,
Well,
oh no, there's
Oh, yeah.
Doug with
Yeah,
a
yeah.
light shirt on. There's Doug from Well Crafted.
There's
They don't know who to
yeah.
curse at. I mean, they
Yeah.
don't know what to do. It's
That's
Well,
why Eric's in Easton right now trying to get you guys some more sales. So
Well, and again, Eric is, he's your guy, but he's our guy too because he's
Yeah.
very, very integral to our operation of getting your beer out there. And when we get footholds and people, once it's well crafted, then Banko becomes the well crafted guy. When we walk in, it's a lot easier, and I see, I oversee everything and I see it working.
Yeah.
I do.
he's selling all our variety packs so that
Yeah.
Doug brings them all in.
Yeah, bumps in the road for sure. The fact that I don't have a shirt like that is really a detriment to the whole property. And now that I'm a double X, I'm sure you have them
Oh, well,
down at the
these are all
Ambler gift
handmade.
shop.
Doug's gonna give
No,
that
we-
shirt off his back to you right now.
We actually so you got to come to Mongerfest. So June 29th, it's a Saturday. You got to come down to Mongerfest. We have this tie-dye guy. He's from Off Kilter, and you make the shirt.
Could I apologize for not coming immediately?
Doug, we got to talk about that. You said he was going to come.
You put it on your calendar, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
it's
You
on your
said,
calendar.
okay.
Go
Oh.
make tie-dye shirts.
Right, okay.
All right, so maybe we bring
Okay,
this
it
guy.
could
You've
be.
been growing your hair out since. You're gonna have a
could be.
goatee soon.
We can bring this guy up
It's
to
a
Music
possi-
Fest, though.
Put me down for a hard maybe.
Or I can make you a shirt. So
I think that's
I
probably
think
the better
that's
bet.
certainly
yeah.
good.
you're this
Be sort of
the
like
godfather. of
I'm
beer.
celebrating the life and death
He's
of
not the
Bill
Godfather,
Walton.
it's
So so tie dye shirt.
Great
would
guy.
really
Great
be
guy.
Great. Super.
Great basketball player.
Super stories about him. Do you have a style of beer you want to talk about? You have anything else in your magic cooler?
So I mean, I have Mocha Americano in my magic cooler.
I've
but
not had Mocha Americano.
let's
Feel like I
just-
was left out.
Let's crack it real quick so we can try it.
Okay.
And then I do want to.
Blonde Americano is one of my favorites. It's just, but not, all of these, I'll admit I can drink half of them or whatever. So
You're a beer connoisseur, Joe.
Blonde is your favorite, Joe. You
yeah,
know that.
it is.
Joe, please
But
clean your palate.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Doug's gonna crack that. So one of the things that just to call out, like I talked about these variety packs, and I keep talking about them because I think they're fun. Like one of the things that's different in the industry from when we started 2 years ago, well, not 2 years ago, a year ago with you guys and getting stuff out is like
Awesome.
the market's kind of moved from 16 ounce where we have these specialty products, and we've now seen a move to 12 ounce. So like And we're excited about this. So like we're trying to get there, but we're doing something a little different. What's that? Do you want some beer?
Come on, man.
Oh man.
No,
All right.
now.
You got it. He's gonna drink.
Get him
it.
in. Get him a cup.
He's
Come on.
our-
Yeah.
No, I
Well,
don't
he got
like
a cup
you're-
right
you're-
here.
He's making me
No.
awkward. He's
Yeah.
gonna have
No,
to drink something.
you're making me awkward. Stop.
I can't help it. That's what I do.
I know.
So, so one of the things we're doing different with these variety packs is trying to maintain the craftness of variety, right? So so we're going after. He likes it. He did.
Right?
It. All right.
It's like coffee and a beer. Like, how do you do it? Right?
For jumping, it's weird.
So
good way.
It's weird in a good way.
That's how.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody loves. Like, yes.
When you're at a party and somebody says that, you're like, man,
Damn
that's
right,
pretty good.
yeah.
Let's get weird.
Yeah.
So with these variety packs, we're putting 2 out. We're putting 1 out, which is the Monger pack. But like in order to stay true to the craft roots, we're doing a variety pack that has a rotating hop series. So we actually have a little window we cut out that we can then change one of the beers out. So it's
like
gonna
it.
be
It's a
gonna
peek
be-
under the tent.
Yeah, it's gonna be hot monger, little monger, double monger, and then nectaron monger to start. And then at
Oh, the Nectaron is awesome.
Yes. So that's going to be in 12-ounce cans going out to the market, right? And then we're going to actually, I mean, I haven't revealed it yet, but we're going to do Little Monger with Rawaka for
What is
Monger Fest.
Rawaka?
It's a hop, man. It's a cool hop.
All right, fair enough.
Okay.
So then we're also going to do a not an IPA pack. Literally, that's what it's called. Just not an IPA pack. Doug
I named it.
participated with us too. Like,
That was a great name.
so that's
Not
going
an
to
IPA
be
variety pack.
our business casual, which is a pilsner. It's going to be our mother of pearl, which is a Kolsch, our tiger tail, which is a cream ale, and then Brewers Select. We didn't want to rotate hops on a non-IPA.
Right.
So
Not an
then
IPA.
we're going to start with our whitting, and then we're going to move in all these different beers. We can get into a lager, and it gives us the ability to keep brewing the cool stuff, throw it in a 12-ounce can, and then send it out to the market. And then come the fall, we're not making a whole new thing. Our people are going to be able to drink different beers in the different types of seasons when they actually make sense. So those are coming. We're excited about those.
You're bringing the brew house to the house.
Exactly.
Is what it is.
That's what.
That's
yeah.
it.
You
That's
don't
what it
even
is.
have to have your own tap system.
No, you
and
bring
you
it
can
home.
throw
So
12 ounces.
is Wit in honor of Cheese Whiz?
Whitting.
It's called Whitting.
Oh, okay.
Whitting.
It used to be.
instead of
It
wit-
used to be hashtag Whitting, but then
Whitting.
nobody.
You know what it is.
Yeah. It's winning.
No,
with a-
not him. It's the other one.
It's winning
Two
with a
men and a
T.
baby. What is that movie? Or not movie, TV show.
Movie.
2 guys and a. What is that?
Oh,
Whitting. What's
Charlie
his name?
Sheen.
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Charlie
Whitting.
Sheen. Yeah.
2 dudes and a what? What is that? 2 men and a
Men
baby?
and a baby.
Wasn't he in a minor league or Hot Shots or
2.5 men.
2.5 men. That's
Which
it.
I feel like we're in
Whatever.
right now.
Get, who's the half? Whatever. I don't.
Guess.
I son of a.
So yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right,
So
let's
listen, this
sample
is-
is typing now. What's he typing there? When I said son
I
of
was
It's like-
hoping.
Episode
So
4.
exactly.
Doug's in the room.
I think exactly what we're trying to do at the Banko Hoppy Hour, we really accomplished because we gave some people some knowledge. We had a little bit of fun.
Yes.
He's trying to shut this down, guys.
Really,
What's going on right
well,
now?
I'm just smoothing it out, Doug.
It's good.
You know,
It's good.
Not really. Not enough of it was about me. So if you'd like to take another 3 hours, I could tell you everything about Banko Beverage and the 46 years that I worked there. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to say, episode 3 of the Banko Hoppy Hour is now over.
Cheers. Cheers. Thank you,
Cheers.
Joe.
Holy moly. Cheers. Let me think of this.
Yeah, what do you got there? Cheers. Cheers to the little
Oh,
cup.
there's your little cup.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a little sip for your little cup.
cut.